Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Meredith, one of the FOP educators, and Happy New Year. I know we're halfway through January already, but this is my first live back in 2026, and I'm very excited to be doing this sew along with you all today. So Amy is in the background. Give her a little shout out, say hi, and if you have any questions, comments, things like that, or want to see something again, just type that in the chat, and Amy will let me know, and we will get it answered for you or come back and answer it if we don't know the answer to it. So as long as we go through the process, just let me know if there's something you want to see again, and I'd be happy to talk you through that or show you that again as well. So today we're starting out again. It's the new year, New Year's resolutions, and I'm all about being organized. I'm chaotic organized, if that makes sense. Like I have everything, has a place, but it's a little chaos at the same time. So these fun little baskets were recently added to the CREATIVATE library. This one, I'm going to show you this one in a second because that one's a little different. Anyway, these were added to the CREATIVATE library. So again, I like organization, things for that, but then in here it's full of chaos. So what I would have in here would be fabric scraps. I think they have where they put fat quarters in there. You could fold up your smaller pieces of fabric and have them lined up nicely in here so you could see them all. So again, organized chaos in my world, but they hold up really well. Like, look at this, it's structured. It's super cute, and they were really easy to put together, and they don't have to be just for your fabric room. You could put toys in them. You could use them in your bathroom for toiletries, for extra things like that. You could embroider what it is on the front of it. If you have like a linen closet or something, embroider what it is that's in there so that you know, hey, I'm going to pull this basket out and whatnot. So this is what they look like. They're not square, they're more rectangle. So you could definitely take this same concept and make it any size that you want to. It was really easy to do. So Amy has added the link to this project in the description, so you can go right there. Again, it's a free project. Just have your CREATIVATE account logged in and you can access it. It also comes with the free embroidery design as well. So you can definitely use the one that's here or create your own, add a phrase, whatever it is you want to add to it. But I wanted to add my own little take on it too, because I know not everybody has an embroidery machine. And so we want these projects to be inclusive to our sewists and our embroidery people as well. So I did a quilt block one as well. So I just created a quilt block, which I'm going to go through the process with you in a little bit about that as well. Created a quilt block, cut it on my Memento, sewed it together, and added it in to my project. So I'm going to show you how I did that, take away the thought for you so that you can just create it on your own as well. So let's start with this one. Let's start with just how the project was made. We're going to go through the process to embroider. I'm not actually going to embroider one out. I already have one, but I'm going to go through the processes that I used to embroider it. Are there any questions or anything before we move on to that about the box or anything really?
Nothing yet.
Okay. So when you look at your instructions, there's an outer piece and a lining piece. And I forgot, I have a different camera angle. Let me just go ahead and show you all that right over here. So let me move these out of the way for a second. So there's two pieces of fabric you need to cut. Again, super easy. So this is the lining piece, and this is, imagine here we go, this one. This one is your outer piece. So for your outer piece, you're going to want something with a little bit more structure to it. So this is like a canvas that I got at my local fabric store. There's only two of those options here. You can guess which one I probably got it at. And so that the outer piece is actually smaller than the inner piece. So this outer piece is 18 by 16. So it's 18 inches this way, 16 inches this way. And then you have your lining piece, which is actually 18 inches by 20 inches. So it's 2 inches bigger all the way around. And then you're going to cut out your little corner pieces as well so that you can fold it up and have your little box. So for the lining piece right here, this is 5.5 by 5.5. We're going to cut those corners out. And then for the outer piece, it's 4.5 by 4.5. So I cut those out like that. I've already embroidered on this one here, but we're going to go through the processes just on the other side so you can see. I made my box so that the shorter side is the front. You could definitely do it this way as well if you wanted to, but just be mindful of that. So the shorter side the smaller side is going to be obviously the shorter side, and vice versa if you wanted to do something on this longer side. The other thing to keep in mind is this is not the top of the box. This is actually the bottom of the box. So if you're doing something that is directionally based, you want to make sure that this is the top right here when you're putting it on there. So when I hooped this to get this ready, my mindset was this is going to fold up here. So this is my top. I want to measure it from that. I also know that there is a 1/2 inch fold over here at the top. So when I found the center of this piece here, I actually went a 1/2 inch shorter. So this is 4.5 inches this way by 7 inches this way. So if I take a 1/2 inch off of that, I've got 4 inches. So I found the middle, which is 2 inches here, and the middle of 7.5, which is going to be 6 1/4. And that's going to be right here. If you want, so like you can see on this one right here, I didn't take that into consideration. You can see that my 1/2 inch goes all the way to the top of my design. I could have moved my design down just a little bit, probably a 1/2 inch actually, and it would have centered it on this thing. I think it looks great either way, but if you want to be particular like I am, that would be taking off that 1/2 inch. Imagine that it's not there, and then do the measurements from there. Any questions on that, Amy? Because I know that can be kind of confusing.
Nothing, but I'll keep an eye out.
Okay, sounds good. We're going to keep going on then. So I'm using my magnetic hoop. This is a weird shaped type thing. So I'm going to use my magnetic hoop, and I have just stabilizer right here. You can use tearaway, cutaway. This piece, I actually embroidered on it before. We're going to put stabilizer on it. You can put the stabilizer on it ahead of time, or you don't have to. When I embroidered on this originally, this part right here, I did not use my fusible on the back side beforehand. I just embroidered on it. So you can use tearaway because it's a woven. You can use cutaway if you want a little bit more structure, either or, whatever scraps you have too, because it's such a small space. So this is the 100 by 100 metal hoop. And I found my little ridges right here for my center. And I just roughly got this center marking lined up with those ridges. And if you have a metal hoop, magnetic hoop, you know what I'm talking about with those little ridges for your center parts right there. And then we're just going to magnetize it to it. You could use a sticky tearaway also if you wanted to. You could stick the tearaway to the back side, peel off that center part, or peel it off, stick it to the back, and then have this stuck to it as well, along with your magnets. But this is a pretty, it's not a lightweight fabric, so it's pretty forgiving in that way. So we're going to come over to our machine over here. And I'm not going to actually embroider this today because that's not what we're really here for. We're just here for the whole process of putting this together. But I just wanted to talk you through. We can turn on projection. And Amy, I was not thinking, y'all. Y'all give me just a second here. I need to... trying to think, Amy, where I can get that design really quickly. If it's faster for me just to send it, or because I've got it set up for sewing. I wasn't even thinking about that. Y'all, before I went live, I told Amy that I feel like everything just left my brain. And that's how I feel right now. I don't know what it is about the new year right now. But, oh, it's already in here. Yay. From when I embroidered it the other day. It's in here still.
See, your brain is in the right place.
I feel like it's not, y'all. This is so simple. I feel like sometimes the simple things, we overthink them. And that's how I feel sometimes when I do these lives with these very beginner friendly and even advanced friendly projects. I feel like I'm just, it's too easy sometimes because of how easy it is. So let's come back over here. I'm going to turn my projection on. I'm not going to show you on my screen today because if you're familiar with projection, I feel like you know what we're looking at. I just wanted to turn this on so you could see here how easy it was. So I've attached the metal hoop, and I'm still in embroidery edit mode. I'm not actually in embroidery mode because you can see my projection right here, and that's my center point, and I know the center of that square is right there. So we are just going to, I'm going to open up edit design at the bottom, and we're just going to move the arrows of our design, which is just moving our design. You see my design moving. So those that don't have projection, look at how easy this is. I'm moving that center block. Let me show you. this guy right here. You can't see there. Let's see. I'm putting this little center square in the center of where that little marking is as well. So just like that. And now I know that's exactly where I want it. If you wanted to design position it, you could definitely go through and do that as well. But I just wanted to show you how easy this was. So then I would go to embroidery mode, do my fixed stitch just to secure this to my stabilizer since I don't have sticky stabilizer, and then just stitch it out. Really quick and easy, super simple. And it's going to land, let me show you, right in the center like this. So that's exactly what I did for this one over here. You could definitely do it on both sides if you wanted to. If you're not sure which way it's going to end up being put into wherever you're using it, you could have the design on both sides if you wanted to. It's completely up to you. So once you're done, you have this full piece right here. Before we go to our next step, I want to talk you through how I created the quilt block one right here. So this is what we did here. So
Meredith,
yes.
can I ask a question? Somebody would like to know how wide is the finished box? Like, what are its dimensions?
That's a good question. Let me just measure it because I don't know off the top of my head. Finished, it is about 6 by 8 1/4 roughly. Yeah. But again, you can make this any size you want. It's again, just being mindful of my lining piece needs to be 2 inches bigger on both sides. So when you started out, it was 16 by 18 and you cut out those corners, 4.5 and 4.5. And then the lining piece was 18 by 20 and you cut out 5.5 by 5.5. So the piece is 2 inches larger, but the corner cutout is an inch larger for the lining. Does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense. But when you look at the instructions, you'll see it all in there and it'll all mix. And when you start putting it together, it all comes together easy. Does that answer those questions? Amy?
They haven't responded yet. I'll let you know.
Okay. If not, let me know. I can go through and explain it again. So speaking of that size, this is finished. This is 6.5. What did I say? 6.5 this way is what it is. Let's see how tall it is. I told y'all the width, but I didn't talk about how tall it is. So finished, it's 5 inches tall is what this one is here. So I knew that I needed my quilt block to be smaller than 5 inches. So I actually made it 4 inches. So I'm going to share my screen mouse. Put this on here. And I am in, nope, we just want this one. There we go. And okay. So we you can still get you get a free CREATIVATE account and the quilting is included with that. So in the quilting module, I'm in the quilting module right here. So if I go back just one, I'll show, oh, that doesn't.
Meredith, I think you might have frozen. I don't know if you can hear me or not. Let me see if I can get her back, folks. Hang tight. She's going to log out and log back in, folks. Give us a minute here. She had to restart her computer. It just completely froze on her. So give her another minute or two here and she'll be right back. Sorry, folks. Feel free to put questions in there and while we're waiting. Thank you.
All right, y'all, can you hear me and see me? Everything, Amy?
Yes, I can hear you and see you now. Yay.
No idea what happened. My computer just went black. I'm plugged in and charged and everything. So no idea what just happened. I'm so sorry. Live TV. Here we go. So where were we, Amy? We were talking about switching over to CREATIVATE. Let me go back. Any questions or anything before I keep going? I'm so sorry, y'all.
Somebody wanted to know what the base fabric is. I think maybe your outside fabric, the heavier stuff.
So it's just like a canvas that I got, and I got it from Hobby Lobby. It's just like a canvas type material. I just wanted something plain because I knew I had lots of scrap fabric that I just wanted it to be able to work with everything I did. So it's just a canvas fabric, like a tan that I got. Something a little bit heavier so you could do it with denim. It just gives it more structure. Yes, you're going to put stabilizer on the inside of it, but something that's a little bit more durable and it's going to hold up to the wear of it coming in and out of the shelf or wherever it is you're going to put it. Any other questions?
When you start talking about the quilt block that you're making, just be sure to mention the size again. Somebody wants to know the size of that block.
Yes. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to go through that. I actually have my measurements here, and I'm going to show you how to actually make this whole quilt block in the CREATIVATE quilting software. So let's switch back. I actually need to share my screen again, Amy, because it took it off. 1 second. This one. Thank you guys again so much for your patience. I'm so sorry. Amy, can you guys all see the... I know you might have to switch it to just...
I did. I put you on full screen there. So we're good.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Amy. Okay, so I'm in the quilting of CREATIVATE right now. So we're going to go... I've already have one right down here that I've created. These are the ones that I've done in the past. And we're going to come up here and load. We're not going to load one that's already done, which would be like this one here. We're going to make our own, basically. So we're just doing one block. So we're going to have 1 by 1 selected right there. And we're going to click OK. And it's going to load up right here. What I want you to keep in mind, we cannot get rid of this border. The borders are always going to be there. You can make them different sizes, but you can't get rid of it completely. That is something that I have suggested to the CREATIVATE team, that you have that option to have or not have a border. But for right now, you have a border, but that's okay. We want our block size right here. We're going to change this to 4. And the reason I know that is because the finished part of, let me come back over here and show this to you guys really quick. So this whole section right here is 5 by, what did I say, 6? Here, this one here. Let's do it based off of this because we don't have our side seams yet. So this is 4.5 here by 7 right here. I think is, yes, 4.5 by 7. So I knew that my quilt block needed to be roughly 4 inches or needed to be 4 inches or smaller. So you could definitely make it smaller if you wanted to, but I like it bigger on my screen. So let's switch back over here. And let me come back now. So I have my block size is 4 inches, and you can come up here and change the width of your border. I'm just going to make it as small as I can, which I think is just 1 inch, right? Yeah. So the smallest you can make it is 1 inch. So our finished piece right here is 6 by 6. But again, that doesn't matter. I want to know what my finished block size is, and that's going to be in here. So we're going to come right up here, block design, add design, and you have lots of options right here to choose from. Again, you could choose any of these to put in the center. You could choose different ones. I like this one, and I like the option too that I could fussy cut, or I could even do a monogram. If these are going in somebody's room or with somebody's toiletries in their bathroom or something, you could still add something to the center of this block, or this one here. But this is just the quilt block I chose because it was closest to what the block was, that the embroidery was. So we're going to touch OK. We can change our colors. I want to show you guys here how we can change our colors. One thing I want to mention though, if I change this to one of the blues that's already selected, I'm trying to find my mouse. If I change this to the dark blue, watch this. I had 3 color options there a moment ago. I only have 2 now because it combined that blue and the blue that these triangles were. The only way to undo this is to click the undo button right up here, and it's going to change it back. But if you were to save it, there's no changing it at that point. So if you want, say I want this center block to be this dark blue, I need to change my dark blue first. So let's change this to, let's do a pink pastel, a lighter pink. And then we can come over here and change our white to that dark blue now. And there you go. And we still have that option to change it. I can come over here too. If I want this to look like as close to what my finish is going to be, let's do that. So I'm going to come down here and do this yellow pastel. This is kind of as close as I'm going to get to the tan that I have. And then I'm going to change that center as well to a darker pink. Because again, I like that two-tone look that the blocks give, like that. And then we can also change our border here. So let me come back up here. And we can change our border color to have it all blend in, since that's our end goal. And so we're going to change that also to this yellow pastel. Okay. And there you go. And that kind of is going to be what your finish is going to look like there. So again, let's just talk through this. These measurements, the total quilt size, it doesn't matter. We want our finished block size because that's all I'm worried about. I'm not actually going to cut this border out. I'm going to cut my own pieces to make it fit to what I need. So my finished size is 4 inches. And we're going to send it to our machine. And we want to make sure that our seam allowance is 1/4 inch. There are other regions that use different seam allowances or whatever it may be. So we have that option there, but we're going to use 1/4 inch. And we can send it, before we send it, I'm sorry, this is going to be the whole quilt put together overview. So right now it has the border and things like that. And we can see step by step how we would assemble all of this together, just like that. You can see the instructions here. If you don't have a memento, that is okay. It's going to give you the yardage that you need to cut everything as well and what they need to be cut at. So this is what it's going to be finished right there. If we go to send to our crafting machine, I have that option right here to deselect the border right here. So I can deselect the border and it's only going to cut out the center block that I need. I can change my mat size as well. I pretty well stick with the 12 by 24. That's what I use the majority of the time. And then we can touch next. And again, it's going to show you what size your fabric needs to be to then put on your memento mat to have it cut out right there. And then we're going to send. And look, it does this fun little thing where it goes from quilting to crafting, because now we are switching to our cutting machine. And it's going to have all of those steps for cutting it out. Again, we're not going to go through the process of cutting anything or anything like that today, but I wanted to show you the process. We can return to the quilt here. It's going to take us all the way back over to quilting, and we can go back and change it. So any questions, anything you would like to see again with that and how I created this quilt block?
I'm going to give everybody a few seconds to catch up with us, but I don't see anything yet.
Okay, so I made my quilt block. Imagine that this stuff is not here. I made my quilt block here, and I added on 2 pieces. So this was added on my, oh, I don't know why I glitched there for a second. I added on my pieces here to make it a total of 7. So again, depending on what size block you did, this is actually a little bit smaller than 4 inches. This one here was 4 inches. I wanted to just change it up. I don't know why, but I made this, I think it's like a 1/2 inch smaller, maybe the one here, but I would stick with the 4 inches or give or take a little bit. I added on my sides here to equal out to 7 because that's what this measurement is here. Across is 7 inches. And then I added some to the bottom to make it 4.5. I did not add to both sides. And the reason for that is when I sewed this on, I find this interesting. When I sewed this on, I have no bottom piece, but here's my seam. It's here and not here on the edge. So I wanted to try something different. So I just added on a seam or an extra piece at the top so that when it folds over that 1/2 inch, remember you've got that 1/2 inch fold over. I think this is, I used an inch piece up here. So I've got 3/4 of inch. So it's going to come to about right there versus, I mean, that's about what I have right there too. So just play with it a little bit, get it to what you need. But here's the next thing. To add this to this, so I actually had to cut off one of my sides because, I mean, I guess you could sew it onto there, but you don't need to. So what I did here was one of those finished 16 by 18 cut out. And I cut off all but 1/4 of an inch here at the bottom. So we're going to sew this to this, and I'm going to show you kind of how that all goes together. So let's go over here to sewing mode. And we're going to go on for inch piecing. Any questions or anything, Amy?
I don't see any questions, but just heads up, you are glitching a little bit. Oh dear, I think you've frozen again. Meredith must have some weather coming in where she is. Hang on, folks. We'll try to get her back again. Yep, she froze again. Her computer blacked out, she said. So we're going to try to get her back on. No idea what's going on. Sorry about that. Okay, she says she's got her computer up and running again, so maybe another minute or less. Thank you for waiting. I don't have any sound from you yet, Meredith. Can you hear me, Meredith? Don't have any, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. No. Hi. Yes, we are still live. Those asking, Meredith is having some computer issues. So give us another minute or so. She's going to log off and try again. So sorry, folks.
All right, what about now? Can you hear me now, Amy?
Yay. Yes, I can hear you and see you.
Okay, y'all. Oh my goodness, y'all. I'm so embarrassed right now. I don't know what the issue is, but I just don't know why it keeps doing this, but I'm worried it's going to do it again. So sorry again. So let me go back. We are assembling this with our quilt block. So again, I cut off one of the short sides right here and left 1/4 of an inch. So we're going to attach our quilt block piece that we made to that 1/4 of an inch. And it's going to line up with our points and give us a good finished edge right there. So let's switch over here. So we're just lining this up right here. And I'm actually a little bit longer, which is okay. We can always square it up. So I have my 1/4 inch piecing foot on. We're just going to sew straight down. I'm going to stop with my needle down, make sure all of my seams are pushed the right way as I'm sewing. We're not getting caught there. Just like that. All the way across. There we go. So now we have one of our finished pieces with that added on. So what I would do next is you're going to cut, I use Decker Bond, but you can use any sort of structure stabilizer, and Decker Bond's a good one to add to this. And so that's what we did here. I added that to the back to give it some more structure to hold it up. Yes, I'm using a heavier weight fabric, but I still don't want it to like fall down a little bit. So the Decker Bond will help with that. So now what we're going to do, once you have whatever embroidery or phrase or anything like that on there, we are going to sew our corners together. I have done my lining piece already. We want the right sides together. I've done the lining one. So we're going to do our main one, and then we're just going to, we're getting close to the end now. Are there any questions before I talk about putting all of this together?
No questions. Nope.
No? Okay. So what we're going to do, it's going black again. Amy said I'm freezing again. I don't know what's going on, y'all. I've had no issues with my computer at all. So We're just going to keep going. Hopefully you're glitching, but I think you're okay. Well, we're going to go with it. So you've got your piece right here. We want to put these two corners together. So we're going to line them up, right sides together. See that? Right sides together, and then down a quarter. All right, so just 1/4 inch on all 4 sides. Oh, and I started too quick. So we're going to rethread. All right, so here we go. 1/4 inch all the way down like that. And you can lock it in if you want to as well, for time's sake. I just want to get through this because I don't want to lose you guys. I don't want you guys to lose me again. I don't want to say I'm losing you guys. So we're going to do that to all 4 sides. Let me do this, and then I will show you what that looks like. And again, we have our right sides together. And 2 more here. And this is going to be on the inside of the box, so it's going to be okay if you're not exact. And I feel like I am backwards. I'm not sure why everything is flipped. Amy,
you're fine.
But obviously the needle threader is. You see what?
You're fine. Nothing's backwards.
Okay, because it's backwards on my screen, and it's never been like that before either. All right. So once you have that together, you're going to have a box just like this. And we need to turn this right side out. So, and this is the fun part. You get to see it all start to come together at this point. And one more corner here. So we have our outside structure here, just like that. And what we're going to do now, we are going to add our lining to the inside. Before you do that, so again, I sewed my lining seams same way. And then what you're going to do, you're going to fold a 1/2 inch in and press all the way around. And then you're going to fold it again another 1/2 inch all the way around. And that's going to clean up this raw edge on our box right here. So I love how simple it is. We don't have to flip anything right side out or sew it all together and then do that. So I like to find one of those corner edges first and get that lined up there. And then you can take some of your fabric clips or pins and just put them in place. And there is a right and a wrong way to put this in here. Obviously, one side is longer than the other. So if your corners aren't meeting, then you might just have it in there the wrong way. So going to get this guy lined up here and one more right here, like that. And there you go. And look at that, how that lines up. You see how much better this one's going to line up than my first one. So learn from my mistakes here, or not my mistakes, my creative freedom. I call it my creative freedom, because this one here, I didn't move it down that extra 1/2 inch, and this one I did. So this one's going to line up a little bit better for me, more of the center. So, and then what you're going to do, you're just going to top stitch all the way around this entire thing. You're going to take your accessory tray off, or your embroidery arm, and have your free arm, and just go all the way around your entire basket. And then you've got your little basket. What I did also, you see how much better this one stands up compared to my blue one here? I actually went and I went to my iron and I pressed all of the seams to each other like this, all the way around. And then what else I did was I found that boxed corner, or the boxed edge right here, and I pressed all of those too. And so that gave me, because like down here, this isn't actually a seam. This is all the same all the way around. So it gives you a good box form. See how much better these are compared to this one, because I haven't done those edges yet. So that was just my other little tidbit too, to just press those seams just like this. You see how it sort of folds in on itself, press here, and then just all the way around on all of those edges. And that's going to give you more of that box look. You could also add a little like pull tab if you made bigger baskets than this or something that was more structured. You could add a little handle here if you're doing it with toys. Then kids could just pull them right out of off the shelf right there and be able to put them back as well. That would be a neat idea as well. So any other questions or anything like that? I don't want to push my limits right now with my computer and it turning off again. So yeah, any other questions or anything like that I can answer for you?
I don't see any questions, but we really, really like the way that finishes, that lining over the edge like that. What a nice, tidy way to do that. That looks fantastic.
Yes, and like I said,
tips.
Right, and I didn't have to get my hand sewing needle out to like close up a seam or anything. Like, I love that. I don't mind hand sewing, but some days I just want to put it on my machine and go. So I thought it was a very clever and a well done project there. Any other questions?
I don't see any questions. Nope.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much again. Amy, in the private chat, I'm not sure if I can I don't see anything in there. I don't know if you want to add the next lives. We have a CREATIVATE live next week with Wendy. It's next Wednesday, January 21st at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 Pacific. Wendy is going to be using draw and paint and making no-waste quilts. So think about this. You have a 10 by 10 inch square and you cut a flower out of it. Well, you have that 10 inch square, you have the negative of that flower that it cut out. So she's going to show you how to use both pieces of that to have really a no-waste quilt. I'm really excited about it. It is under the CREATIVATE events on Facebook, and it should be up on YouTube also, Amy, I believe. So you can see her little images of what she's already done, but she's going to go through how she did that and then also cutting it with memento and things like that and how she did that. So that's going to be next Wednesday. And then Wednesday, oh, this is so fun. So February is National Embroidery Month, correct, Amy? Right? I'm not saying that wrong.
You're correct. Yep. Okay.
Thank you. I was like, maybe I'm mixing it up. Nadine, the lovely Nadine that we love so much for FOF, she is going to be doing a no, this is just one. Yeah. Oh, hold on, because I'm getting her mixed up with the other one. I'll tell you all that one too. Yes, Will you give me that information too? I'm mixing them up. She still is going to be great, and she still is going to do fun things. At the end of February, on February 25th at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 Pacific, on the FOF page or on now, Nadine is going to be, I want to read what she has, who will no doubt have something incredibly inspiring planned. So stay tuned. But we all know Nadine's projects and classes are amazing, and I even learned things from her. So you definitely want to tune into that. But this is what I was thinking of. I was getting it mixed up with this one. So because it's National Embroidery Month also, the one with Nadine is going to be everything on the machine, I guarantee you. That's what she does. She is amazing at creating directly on the machine. So that's going to be with Nadine. The other 3 weeks, so it's going to be Wednesday, all of the first 3 Wednesdays in February. Janie Lance, the lovely Janie Lance, we love her so much and her software knowledge. She is going to be doing a 3-week class on digitizing and creating and all of those fun things. Those events will be posted soon as well. I just got that information this week to get that posted. So I will have that done by the end of this week as well. So you'll have all that information. But that's going to be every Wednesday in the month of February. Again, the first 3 are with Janie Lance on software and creating. And then the last week is with the lovely Nadine and creating an embroidery mode on your machine. So if you have any other questions or suggestions or ways that you've made these or you plan to make them, we would love to hear that. Feel free to add that into the chat, and we will check the comments for the next week or so, and I'll answer any other questions you might have. And again, thank you so much for your patience. I apologize. I was very excited about my first live back to 2026. And it was definitely an unforgettable one. So I hope you all enjoyed it and learned something and are inspired to get organized in the new year. And I will see you in March. I believe I'm back in March. We'll see y'all then. Oh, hold on. Amy, I can't see my mouse if you can help me.
I'll get it.
Thank you.